Hello everyone, Darko2012 here, and this is part 2 of Bin Laden back from the dead, taking credit for the Christmas Day botch bomber. Uh, Here we go, and we move down here to the botched attack by the Yemen-based regional wing of Al-Qaeda on Christmas Day and subsequent threats in Yemen raised global pressure for a crackdown, helping to prompt Sana'a to declare an open war on the militant group within its territory. Defense and counterterrorism officials say Washington quietly has been supplying military equipment, intelligence, and training to Yemen to destroy suspected al-Qaeda hideouts. Since the attempted bombing, Yemen has launched a series of airstrikes targeting al-Qaeda leaders and has declared that some top regional leaders, including Qasim al-Rami and Aid al-Shabwani, have been killed. But al-Qaeda denies the claims. Yemen subsequently attacked the rural home of Shabwani but gave no hint on the result. On Sunday's tape, bin Laden cited Washington's support for Israel as a motivator for more attacks on the United States and vowed to keep up or keep on as long as Palestinians cannot live in peace. Our attacks against you will continue as long as the U.S. support for Israel continues, bin Laden said, which is scary, right? Because if the guy is actually dead and he's not actually saying this, then who the hell is? And if he is being used to bring us into different parts of the world on the quote for the quote war on terror, for the quote Al Qaeda, then this is pretty scary stuff. Because then we're just going to be chasing this guy that probably isn't even alive, or isn't even really, or isn't even a legitimate grassroots terrorist that has no connection, no ties to intelligence agencies in Israel, Britain, and the U.S. And that's what's so scary, is that of course we're going to support Israel. I'm not saying that I'm all for it, but I'm just saying that the hijacked rogue government that is in charge right now supports Israel, and as long as this rogue, hijacked, criminal-ass government is still in charge of our republic, then they will support Israel. Once we go back to a constitutional, non-interventionist, pro-sovereignty, non-nation building country that we once were, and what we were built off, then yes, we will not support Israel. We will not support other crappy wars such as this, where we're chasing an invisible enemy. And that's what scares me to death, is that we're never going to win this war on terror. I mean, I think that's the whole purpose of it, was to just keep us chasing a ghost, a phantom ghost. So here we go, finishing up here. It says White House advisor Axelrod attacked bin Laden on CNN TV, assuming that it is him. His message contains the same hollow justifications for the mass slaughter of innocents that we have heard before, he said. Libyan analyst and former bin Laden associate Noman Benetman said the tape was intended to send a message to the Arab world. It is very smart, back to the basics message, reminding his audience it is all about Israel and America. His main audience is the Arab world, where the Al-Qaeda has lost substantial moral support, he said. The reference to September 11th gives Al-Qaeda actions a continuity and definable shape. Soldiers killed in Yemen. Britain, before the meetings on Afghanistan and Yemen Wednesday and Thursday in London, raised its terrorism threat to severity. I remember that. The second highest level on Friday. The decision to raise the level from substantial means security services now consider an attack in Britain a key U.S. ally to be highly likely, but the government said it has no information to suggest an attack was imminent. And that's what they always say. They raise that thing and say, but they don't know whether there's going to, they have no information that would suggest such. They're just ramping up fear. And this being the year of false flag terrorism, which Gerald Celente called for, the year of terrorism this year, in 2010, Yeah, I mean, of course they're going to raise the threat levels and that, and of course there's going to be more attacks that are going to help strip more freedoms and more liberties from us, and so that we can live in a total police state, and that we. And I was thinking about this when I heard the ridiculous news story about Britain raising their threat level to severe. Was that the Christmas Day bomber was kind of like our little get out of free jail card, where we had kind of like a kind of a passive, non-violent, failed attempt. Because they've had that in other countries, whatever, where they'll have botched terrorist attacks. I think the Christmas Day bomber was kind of like that, where the guy was a son of a very wealthy banker. U.S. intelligence knew everything about him, uh, including that he was definitely someone to watch out for. His father even warned them about him. Um, the guy was totally drugged up when he boarded the plane. He was escorted by a sharp-dressed man, by eyewitness accounts. But that video was never released in Denmark, and there's only been one article that I've posted within my uploads that talks about a second person that was involved with the Christmas Day bomber, but that will never ever be talked about or spoken about um, in the mainstream media. They just assume that this guy was from Nigeria and that he was trained in Yemen, and so we got to go bomb Yemen. So I have an upload that says next terrorist attack or next false flag government-sponsored terrorist attack, Yemen. So you can definitely count on that as far as there being like a actual, something exploding besides just a patsy like the Abdulmutallab, who was given some busted ass bomb or whatever by intelligence agencies. So he thought it was going to go off, uh, but of course it didn't. And there was also people that actually there was someone that was videotaping him on the plane. There's eyewitness accounts of that of the Christmas Day bomber while everything was smoking. There was people videotaping him before it happened. But that tape was never released. So yeah, so there's going to be an explosion or a big attack because they need people to remember they want to get terrorism in the minds of the people. This is, like I said, 2010, and it's all about getting Al-Qaeda back on the scene, bringing Osama bin Laden back into the mix, even though the guy's probably dead or in Antarctica or somewhere. And so my belief is that they didn't really need to bring a plane out of the sky in order to get what they wanted to get. In other words, the Detroit bomber didn't blow anything up because they really didn't need to. I mean, they're going to get the body scanners. They can just play. Yes, the executive branch, the intelligence agencies, and the media will use this Christmas Day bomber and just wear it out until they can, just like Obama, just keep it going until it's just you beat it, a dead horse. Basically, that's what they'll do with this story. And so look at the body scanners. They'll get, now all of a sudden, I just posted an article about UK. Now they're going to have spy drones spying on the people, not looking for terrorists or anything, but just spying and monitoring people. So that's what I'm getting at. When you hear when this year, you better pay attention, people, if you don't believe in any of this crap, as far as governments being able to carry out terrorist attacks against their own people, because I've stated this before, whenever this happens, look out, because at home, something's going on at home. Whether it's healthcare, whether it's drones flying around, whatever. Your liberties are being taken away from you. So you can believe in terrorism, and that's good, and there are legitimate terrorists. But more than likely, much of the terrorism is used to push the Anglo-Saxon faction of the Illuminati, of the New World Order, and basically spread their forces. And that's what it's being used for. And it's also being used for to turn inwards towards domestic terrorism. So anybody that's like me that speaks out against this will be considered domestic terrorist eventually. And they're going after our free speech and everything. So I'm just glad I'm still able to post these videos here. So